Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we finally return to talking about more cringe from Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. This time the representative's explosive and offensive language has caused yet another anti-bigotry resolution to be passed in her honor in Congress. Omar has had two separate House resolutions written to condemn anti-Semitism following remarks she has made, so it's pretty clear that the hate she has for the Jewish people is not going anywhere anytime soon. And this has led many to think that she should not be allowed to serve on the House Foreign Affairs Committee either, since, it's kinda hard to run a Foreign Affairs Committee when you're biased and hate-filled like her. And as I said before when this came up, a Muslim like Omar hating Jews really shouldn't be that surprising. Omar is simply reflecting what most of her fellow religious zealots already feel on a daily basis. The thing that's more sickening now, though, is that not only is she hiding it less and less each day, but also, of course, this is openly coming from an elected federal official. Really seems like the whole Democratic Party is moving towards this anti-Jewish, anti-Israel path too. Sure, they've passed these two bullshit resolutions trying to pretend they're not anti-Semitic publicly, but at the same time, they're also hand-waving problems from and propping up a loser like Ilhan Omar. But don't just take my word for it. You don't need to listen to a lowly goy like me. Let's see what some prominent American Jews have to say about this thing, such as political commentator and proud Jew himself, Ben Shapiro, who seems to be taking umbrage with Omar's anti-Semitism as well. Here's a tweet where Ben says that she keeps doubling down on the dual loyalty smear, while Democratic leadership simply doesn't give a crap. And this is the kind of silence from other Democrats I'm talking about here too. The left is not only promoting newcomers like Omar who are anti-Semitic, they're also staying quiet as she continues her anti-Semitic bullshit publicly. And I think this dual loyalty smear coming from Omar is pretty ironic too, since, she was born in Africa and seems to have more allegiance to Islam than America. Maybe she needs to be checking her own allegiances before going after American Jews. Next comes a tweet from Peter Hassan, who I'm not sure if he's Jewish, but he's certainly a supporter, and he points out something interesting, how Omar recently retweeted an attack on the late Senator John McCain that calls his daughter's concern about anti-Semitism faux outrage. Really? Concern about hating Jews is faux outrage? Because I really doubt Omar would feel the same about someone hating on her beloved Muslims. She seriously can't help herself anymore in my opinion. Ilhan is obviously not remorseful about her anti-Semitism either. It really just looks like the reason she's mad now is because she got caught and people are talking about it a lot. Next, here's a Twitter moment about the recently passed resolution. It says, House overwhelmingly passes resolution condemning bigotry and anti-Semitism. In a 407-23 vote, the House approved a resolution condemning anti-Semitism and other forms of bigotry in response to remarks by Representative Ilhan Omar about Israel that some perceived to be anti-Semitic. While Omar, a Democrat, voted in favor for the resolution, which did not explicitly single her out by name, several Republicans voted against it. Well, very interesting. Looks like the new spin coming from Twitter and the left-wingers is that Omar voted yes, so she's not anti-Semitic now, even though all of her words and actions suggest otherwise. And to put a new twist on this, liberals are now trying to point out that a number of Republicans voted against the resolution, implying that they are the real bigots, I guess, and they hate Jews or something. But that's really not the case at all. In fact, some of these Republicans voting against the resolution were Jewish themselves. Here's a video I found of Representative Lee Zeldin, a Jewish member of Congress who has a perfectly reasonable explanation for voting against this resolution. Let's go ahead and take a look.
We are here today, right now, because of anti-Semitic rhetoric from one member of this chamber said again and again and again. We would not be on this floor right now otherwise to discuss this topic. If that member was a Republican, that member's name would be in this resolution, and this resolution would be all about condemning anti-Semitism, and it would be done so forcefully.
Ouch. This guy came out spitting fire. And I love how this shatters the liberal media narrative in seconds. Republicans aren't voting against this resolution because they're anti-Jewish. Lee Zeldin is a proud Jew himself right here. And he's telling us the real reason they voted no. It's because the resolution and the remedy for this problem aren't strong enough. That, and there's a huge elephant in the room here too. And I'm not talking about this loud and proud Republican, whose party is represented by that animal too. No, the real elephant in the room of this congressional vote is this. Like what Representative Zeldin said, if this was a Republican being anti-Semitic, the resolution would have his name all over it. And also the wording of the resolution would be harsher against them, and more specifically tailored toward his anti-Semitism. Instead, Ilhan Omar's name is suspiciously absent from the resolution. It's not mentioned at all, almost to hide her from backlash here. And also, the text of this resolution waters down the whole anti-Jewish issue completely, by including loads of other things too that aren't necessary. In fact, I've seen sections of the resolution where Jews were like the 8th minority mentioned. They referenced the need to stop bigotry against blacks, browns, and gays and all these other groups too, before even getting to the subject at hand and the reason why we're here. So, needless to say, Ilhan Omar's anti-Semitism is being brushed under the rug, at least as much as humanly possible.
That member in January had to apologize for talking about a hypnosis of Israel that they have over the entire world. That member had to apologize in February by saying that if you support Israel, it must be because you're bought off by Jews. That member called it an unequivocal apology, even though she filled it with equivocation.
Not a good start for this rookie congresswoman. Omar's only been in office for about 2 months, by the way, and already she's said dozens of anti-Semitic things. And she's had 2 House resolutions passed about her as well, about her bigotry. I mean, where can we even go from here? I can't believe people really think things could get better this way. Not even mentioning Omar's name as you give her a light slap on the wrist will in no way curb her anti-Jewish rhetoric. In fact, now that she knows she can get away with it more, this will only embolden her to continue and get worse.
And now we're back again, this time by saying that if you support the U.S.-Israel relationship, that you must have pledged allegiance to a foreign government. Except this time that member is refusing to apologize. Even if you gave that member every benefit of the doubt that she had no idea what she was doing, why now wouldn't she be apologizing? Why would she be more emboldened to refuse an apology altogether?
Yeah, I mean, why would she apologize? Omar is one of the new class of Democratic darlings in Congress right now, who the media love because they're all women and minorities. They prop her up as one of the first Muslim representatives too, as if that's a good thing. She's also getting away with this shit time and time again, now with even less punishment than before. Omar won't even apologize at this point, because her anti-Semitism and pro-Islam rhetoric, it's what's being championed in the Democratic Party now, and it's disgusting. They're betraying the Jews and Israel, our longtime allies since World War II and even before, all in order to favor Muslims who have been attacking the United States for decades.
Because I don't believe she is naive. I believe that she knows exactly what she's doing. It is an American value, by the way, to have reasonable, legitimate criticism of a government, whether it be the U.S. government, Israel, or any other government. It is not an American value, though, to be hurling anti-Semitic rhetoric.
Yeah, Omar doesn't seem to be criticizing Israel as much as her side leads on. All I've heard her say is shit about Jews hypnotizing the public and how they pay off politicians in America, supposedly. And that's not talk about the country Israel or its policies or flaws. That's bigoted anti-Semitic language Omar is pointing at an entire ethno, race, and religion. Probably because, you know, she's a Muslim whose anti-Semitism goes all the way back to her faith's leaders, creators, and even their God Allah.
We have members of this chamber who associate with Louis Farrakhan, who says, quote, Hitler was a very great man. Let's talk about a double standard. In January, we all came to this chamber. We condemned white supremacy. We named a Republican member. We kicked that member off of his committees. He can't serve on the Small Business Committee, but this member will continue to serve on the House Foreign Affairs Committee.
More double standard bullshit. I guess we shouldn't be too surprised, but it still is really messed up. Republicans get shafted in politics, clearly, but we also get shit on by most of the news and the mainstream media too. And also, of course, the media will hardly chastise Ilhan Omar for her anti-Semitism at all because she's like this sort of super over-the-top representation of intersectionality and feminism or whatever SJW bullshit is hot right now. Think about it. Omar is openly and proudly an intersectional feminist and SJW, and this is where a lot of her undeserved confidence comes from. When you're in the Democratic Party that's obsessed with victimhood points and stuff like that, being a woman is a great start. Then you add in the fact that she's a Muslim woman who's also a Democrat, and, well, according to left-wingers, someone with that much victimhood cred and virtue, they can really do no wrong. That's why Omar keeps openly showing her bigotry, and that's why little to no one on her side will call her out on it either. Not her fellow Democrats, or left-wing politicians, or the SJW mainstream media.
It's time to call out these statements for what they are. Pointed, bigoted, unreasonable, illegitimate, anti-Semitic. I commend my colleagues on the other side of the aisle who have been speaking out about all this anti-Semitism.
Good to hear some Democrats are starting to speak up, finally, and I'm really impressed with this Republican, Representative Lee Zeldin, here today. This guy is clearly spitting fire in this speech, and I hope we see more of him on TV and in the press in the future. What he said here was impassioned and very accurate, and it's a glowing example of the real reason why Republicans didn't vote for this bullshit resolution.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to say thank you to each and every one of them, because support of Israel, support of Jews, standing against anti-Semitism has been bipartisan in the past. It should be bipartisan today and should be bipartisan for every moment in the future. I yield back.
Well put, and a great point to end on too. Dismissing and combating anti-Semitism should be a bipartisan issue. The Jewish people have been longtime allies and a small but integrated part of the US since the beginning, and even more so every generation. The Muslims, on the other hand, who are hating on the Jews, they are something that's very new and very frightening in America. I won't go so far as to say they don't have a place here, but they're certainly not doing the best job at fitting in and assimilating either. And not to get too far into the differences between American values and Muslim ones, but clearly being friendly to Jewish people is not on their to-do list. We'll see if Ilhan Omar does change after this, but as I said before, I highly doubt it. Why would she change when she continues to get away with this time and time again? In fact, she's even getting promotions and elections and all kinds of benefits from it. She certainly won't lose any votes for her anti-Semitism in her district, which has been totally taken over and run down by a new Muslim population. Shit, her district won't stop voting for her because of her anti-Semitism, because that was the reason they elected her in the first place. In the end, despite the mainstream media trying to spin this back around and make Republicans look bad, after hearing from Representative Zeldin, a Jew himself, we can now see why pro-Jewish people would vote no on a seemingly pro-Jewish resolution. And well, it's because it's not really pro-Jewish enough for this situation. It's watered down with other unnecessary concerns for other minorities and SJWs and other nonsense. And also, Omar's name is not only absent from the document completely, she's also getting virtually no punishment for her mistakes. So unlike what happened to Republicans with similar controversies, Omar gets to keep her seat and her prestigious spot on a House committee, even though she's an inexperienced hack who should have never been there in the first place. What do you guys think? Is Omar's cringe getting stronger each and every week? Do you think she's really sorry for her anti-Semitic remarks? Or do you think she's just sorry for getting caught and getting bad attention? Comment your thoughts on everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and we'll see y'all next time.